Okay, so good evening once again. So for tonight, we would be continuing our lesson. It's lesson 5.3 already. So let's continue the lesson. So let's continue about the Necronis basis for his centers. Tapos ito. So, according to Dr. Anne Moore in 1910, in her study during her time in New York, this is one of the output. So the horrors attendant upon feeble-mindedness have in no way been exaggerated. Sino ba dito nakapanood ng ng mga movies about yung mga mental institution? 'Di ba parang marinaka sa aswang or feeling mo pati ikaw maano ka, para mababaliw ka na rin. So, the conditions neither circumscribed or local. So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya parang, hindi lamang siya sa kanilang institution lang, kundi sa lahat ng institution pare-pareho. And ito talaga siya, that there is a crying need for concerted actions to control the situation. Isipin nyo ha, during the 1910, many people are already advocating improving the special education. So, yung 1910 ha, in the US, 1910 sila because again, it has become a reality na kasi na as the society progress, mas lalo dumadami ang mga abnormal. It's not just because uh, it's part of the progress, but remember, people are not being healthy na, di ba? So, it's not just, you become abnormal in a stop, but especially the genetics of the parents, the environment, the stress factor. Being pregnant alone is a very stressful activity. So, especially if you were not supported, diba? So, that's why the child is affected. Si Chris Aquino nga, nagkaroon ng special child, which is, she is very pampered. But then, due to stress of Philip Salvador, ano nangyari sa kanya? And we have also Candy Pangilinan, diba? her son, Quintin. So, what would happen if they are, it's not genetic, but it's part of the stress of the pregnancy. So, we couldn't really tell kung ano nga, pag binigay sa'yo, it's your luck. So, sabi nga ni Dr. Moore, realize that the feeble-minded are a menace to our present-day civilization. Diba? Ang pangit ng kanyang realization because those persons or those children, tingin niya is a menace. Ano ba menace? Ibig sabihin, salot. So, and the problem of caring for them can no longer safely ignored. So, that's why meron silang maraming mental institution and asylums na ginawa in the past. Okay, ito pa. They agree that the defect is often hereditary and incurable. That is leads to poverty, degeneracy, crime, and disease. So, they concluded that everything is just, ano, hereditary and it could not be cured. And especially, this is common now sa mga poor people. Because they think being insane is, what? A sign of being a poor person. So, what solutions did Dr. Moore suggest? She suggested that there should be what? Lifelong segregation during the reproductive period. Oh my God. So, people should be segregated. So, ibig sabihin, although in the past, we have been battling with the caste society, diba, in the past, masyadong malayo ang agwat ng mayayaman at saka mahihirap. Then, as time goes by, diba, na-address na ito. Rich people are mingling with poor people na. But then, here comes the psychologist. Pumasok na naman yung mga psychologists saying that rich people and poor people should not mingle with each other. There should be what they call segregation. Kasi nga, it would lead to what? Special ed or yung genetic disorders. And ito yung pinakamalala, should be what? Sterilization. O, gawing sterile. Sino is sterile? Malamang yung mga babae because in the past, there's always a discrimination between man and woman. 'Di ba? Ang mga babae kasi in the past, they have no stand in the society. So malamang sila yung sterile. So based on based on our study, the sterilization process in the past is not very good. Sometimes women will be will be ano na, it would lead to their death. So that's but then they would just blame it to the women. But sometimes they don't know it's the male genetic disorder that brought those genetic disorder. So this remedy is, mas in the opinion of this committee, the procedure used to clinically supply effectiveness or according to the eugenics section of American Breeders Association, what? Cutting off the supply of defectives. I think this is why Americans are Americans are very masyado silang advocate sa kanilang belief that there should be what we call yung mga purebreds. Kasi if mahaluan kasi feeling nila, 'di ba? The American genes would be defective. So, do you agree with this sentence? The remedy? So, comment down below if you agree with this. This is 20 points. This remedy must be, in my opinion, is to commit what? Cutting off the supply of defectives. So, if you produce a defective child, therefore you should be sterilized. So, what is your opinion with this one? So, let's talk about the last 1900s. So, there was a biological emphasis on the different deformities, different abnormalities, and different disabilities. Then, there comes the medical model. So, gumawa na sila ng medical model. Di ba yung sinabi ko last time, ginagawa nila, if you are part of those abnormal children or special children, binubutuasan yung ulo mo, then they would i-exorcise kayo para palabasin yung masamang espiritu. But, as now, there is the what we call institutional care. So, ano yung institutional care? So, meron na silang they have an emphasis on care for children and there is what we call parameters to be followed. So, from 1900s to 1950s, there what we call the compulsory education. Ibig sabihin, there's a creation of classes for the different types of specialty. So, there's a class for mentally retarded, but depending on the range of your retardation, blind, deaf, and etc. Then, after the Second World War, there was a creation of special education system. This is organized in the parallel to ordinary educational system. So, they do not just put the special education as katulad yun sa atin yan, special education is not another institution, but it works along with the ordinary educational system. Because we want to put out those individuals to be a working individuals, diba? They have contribution to the society. So, look what happened in the Olympics, diba? After the Olympics, we have the Paralympics. So, let's continue. So, let us talk about the special needs education. So, there are 4 periods of special needs education. So, first, number 1, instruction for pupils with sensory and disability experiences children are excluded from school. So, they were not part of the school system. Care for disabled, medical care, and rehabilitation should integrate into homogeneous group. The principle of normalization and integration. So, what is the principle of normalization and integration? So, uh, they would, gagawin sa kanila is, they would be given activities, they would be doing it routinely. And after that, they would be integrated to the society. Kasi naman, if, ano siya, please bear in mind that if you have special persons, if you could see, there should be what we call a routine activity for them because they would find it safe. Diba? Mas hindi sila magiging hysterical. Educational equality and equal educational service, or that we call the inclusion. So, special education specifically designed instruction at no cost to child's parents to meet the unique needs of the students with disability. So, what are the characteristics? So, special settings, there are what we call, ito yung mga special talaga, yung mga high class talaga. There is a segregation, class, resource rooms, and school. Yung special children, depende na rin siya sa types and depending on the categories. Special teachers. So, teachers are trained or not trained, experienced or not, but they should have knowledge. Kuha, it's not the experience, but they have the knowledge, at least in theory. So, specialists, these are the therapists, or so special ratio, less students by class, but more teachers. For example, we have a school there in General Santos City na malapit sa bahay. I think they have 5 children in a class. Then they have the main teacher. Then per student, may dalawa ata silang teachers na nag-assist. So, special methods. So, we have braille, sign language, depende, di ba? So, special program. Ito lang siya. The only goals is to have integration in the social life so that they become functioning members of the society. So, let us talk about the special and segregated advantage. Number one, they provide people with disabilities a chance to become just a successful person. This successful is like, for example, for a normal human being, a successful person is nakapagtrabaho. Sa kanila, the successful, just successful sa kanila is they could go to the store, makabili, makabayad, then they would go back home. Yun lang. Promoting cooperation rather than competition. You know about this already. I would not explain this. Learn physical and social skills in an environment that understands and accepts them. Question. You have, ano naman, di ba, yung mga kamag-anak, or not just kamag-anak, or you just have kapitbahays. So, how would you deal with those special people? Do you accept them? Or are you one of those persons that makes fun of them? O, diba? Train staff, equipment, specialized service, improve the skills that increase participation in more integrative situations. Individual attention is easier to obtain, be able to meet between individuals carrying the same disability. So these are the special settings. Special disadvantage. The learning skills and behaviors of the disabled. So, pakibasa na lang dito ha. I want you to, ano na lang dito. Kasi this will be part of our quiz on Friday. So, that ends our lesson for today.